Hey, and welcome to The Solid Verbal. Now would be a perfect time to consider subscribing. Yeah, that little subscribe button for year-round premium college football content. That's it. Here's the video. Enjoy. Subscribe.
Speaking of new pieces, Texas A&M. Yeah. Texas A&M had a historic recruiting class. Many of those prospects are going to play, I think, a significant role in this year's A&M team. You can talk more to that than I can, but I am looking at their schedule here. I am intrigued by it. They've got an intriguing non-conference game, week 3 against Miami. That game is at home. We talked about Miami on a previous episode. They've got a really tough stretch of games here between weeks 4 and 6. In that, it is Arkansas, neutral site game. It is Alabama in week 6, and in between there is a very obvious letdown look-ahead sandwich game against Mississippi State, your Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Yeah.
So, can Texas A&M possibly live up to the hype that came as a result of that really big recruiting haul and all of the offseason headlines that came with Jimbo Fisher digging in his heels a little bit and taking exception to Alabama and Nick Saban?
Yeah. Oh, A&M can absolutely live up to expectations, but we say that a lot of years. The concerns are not all that pronounced, right? The skill talent appears to be in a good place. That was a sort of complaint or worry that we had in years past. They were like, who's popping at receiver? Who's that threat downfield? Who's that gravitational force? Now, the Anaya Smith back, charges dropped in the case that he had. Devin Achane is in the backfield. There's promising upside everywhere in the offensive skill situation. They're starting over a little bit at tight end. I believe Max Johnson's brother also coming in addition to Max Johnson at tight end. The question to me is the Jimbo Fisher restrictor plate. Is we have a Kellen Mond situation forever and ever, and the moments that Kellen Mond was good downfield, filled A&M fans with promise. The moments that Zach Calzada had downfield, making the huge throws that he did. I'm not saying people were watching Zach Calzada, who's a backup for a reason last year, and thought, this is our guy for as long as he will stay here. But you saw hints of it, and it's just, for whatever reason, even now with Evan Stewart, the super promising freshman who should get on the field as a true freshman.
Plug and play, right? He's plug and play.
Plug and play.
Yeah.
Shined in the spring game.
Yep.
It's how much does Jimbo Fisher want to take in terms of chances, in terms of taking the plastic off of this offense? Is he somebody who is like, no, you got to keep the original packaging because we're going to sell it down the line, or just play with your toys, right? And look, humans are beings, are not toys, but how much is there like an effort mentality, be it with Max Johnson or Wegman, the freshman with a ton of promise, or Haynes King, who got the nod last year, whoever is starting at quarterback? It's how many effort go deep. Let's trust Evan Stewart. Let's trust Anaya Smith and get creative with him once again. That's the question to me, is how much actual aggression is coming from the sidelines with this A&M team. Because once again, on defense, even though new coordinator Mike Elko, because can't go wrong going to the Brian Kelly footprint, right? Mike Elko was incredible. This defense was incredible. They have a lot to replace up front. That was super successful. They were incredible in the red zone. They were incredible situationally, on passing downs, on third downs, getting off the field. But this offense was something like 91st in terms of 3-and-out percentage. That it was an arrhythmic quality to whatever they were doing with Zach Calzada and this offense last year. So it's how much trust does Jimbo and this offensive staff have at quarterback? How much trust do they have in maybe more wild card receivers or wild card, series of play calling and situations? And how much is it just like, this is what we do? We call screens on third downs, and that is a hallmark of the Jimbo Fisher offense. And it's just, how much is he willing to throw out and say, you know what, screw it. We're taking notes from Ole Miss. We're taking notes from Alabama. I think Jimbo's probably too proud to abandon what got him here. But if we're going to see A&M turn a corner, it's got to be some more balls to the wall to this offense. That's what concerns me.
Who do you think should be quarterback?
I don't know. I'm not at practice. I think you limit yourself in terms of playoff aspirations with Max Johnson.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's very difficult to see this, to say balls to the wall and Max Johnson in the same thought. I think he's pretty good. I think he's a playmaker. I don't know if he's the right arm for this job.
Yeah.
Now, Haynes King coming off an injury. There's a reason he won that job last year. Maybe he's really good. I don't know if that's the buzz that I'm always hearing from A&M. I mean, just not either way. You just don't hear a lot of Haynes King buzz. Wegman's promising, but smaller. Oh God, you would love for there to be a Wegman quarterback.
I would love that.
You?
Oh my
Major
God.
college
Not a sponsor,
football.
could be. Yeah.
Not a sponsor, could be. I don't know. I think you probably roll with Haynes King just because he earned it last year. See what he has in terms of rhythm with these guys that have been around for a while, that there's familiarity there.
Okay.
But I don't know. The offensive line's in a pretty good spot. They return a good amount, especially on the inside of this line.
And that helps, right? That helps,
That helps.
especially if you're trying to figure out your quarterback situation. It helps. What about defense, right? We've heard so much about the new toys coming in on the offensive side, but
Sure.
a fair amount of beef coming up along the offense, but a fair amount of beef coming along the defensive line. Walter Nolan, all right, made headlines going to Texas A&M. Is it a plug and play situation as well for some of those freshmen, 5-star blue chip caliber freshmen that are coming into College Station? Are we going to see them making as big an impact as some of the names on the offensive side?
Yes. My answer is yes, because there are so many of them.
Yeah.
That not a lot of these guys, they're interesting young guys who have played. They lost a bunch of upperclassmen, and then, of course, the incoming class. Because I think a lot of these guys will have fresh legs in DJ Durkin's system, and they're not changing a whole bunch from what Mike Elko did. We talked to Sam Kahn, right, a few months ago about where Texas A&M stood as a program, that there are just so many dudes who can wreak havoc coming in or are young guys in the system that the concern, like linebackers, kind of a concern, losing the guys that they did. There's absolute talent there. It's just, is the star power obvious from day one? They're in a really good spot in the secondary. So if they're able to trust the secondary, DJ Durkin did a great job last year turning around the Ole Miss defense. If you're rightfully able to trust the secondary and you're rightfully able to trust the defensive linemen coming in or have been in for only a little while, guys like Shamar Stewart, they're going to be really, 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 really good. The defense is going to be really, really, really good. How much does that matter? Are they getting to 10 wins? I think with the right quarterback and the right offensive aggression, yes, they can get to 10 wins. But do you subtract one because of the Jimbo Fisher restrictor plate? Because they have what they showed against Ole Miss last year? Because now, it should be an upgrade over Zach Calzada. But God, watching the Arkansas game last year at Jerry World, where the entire offense was an Isaiah Spiller run, that's what worries me. The restrictor plate where they're just going to throw in a game and a half of just dog-ass offense and aggression and play calling and the ability to adjust, even with the talent that they have. That's the worry for me. That's the true worry, so I put them at 9 wins.
Over under
9
is
wins
8.5.
with like
8.5 is where Vegas has it.
I would go slightly over. Now, the Miami game, I think it's a good time to get Miami with as much as it's new in as much as there is new in Coral Gables, and the fact that the game is where it is, right? It's in College Station, correct?
Correct.
I think it's a good time. It's a good time to get Miami because I think they're going to improve over the course of the season. I have them at 9 with at times looking like a 10-11 win program because there's just so much there.